This is Luke 21 and 27. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. I like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakudash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Schwab on Mawan back at you with another lesson. And what I want to show you, all right, is one of the wildest chariot sightings ever that I've ever seen. All right. Let me grab this real quick. Okay. Let me put the light up on it so you can see it clearly. Check this out. And as you can see, it's actually green. Salakia. Check this out. We'll play it again with sound.
About to crash with this other star over here. Oh shit. Oh my god. What the fuck did I just Yo!
And you could tell by the way it's moving. It was a green light. All right, which I'm gonna make a video on it. Well, I'm making a video now, but I mean like a video production. So I can like zoom into it and clear it up real good. All right. And it's crazy because it was bright green, like literally a bright green light, and it looked like it was gonna hit the star. Because I don't even know if the other one was a chariot, but it looked like it was gonna hit the star, and then all of a sudden it did like a circling around it, and then it just went down, and then it went back to the right and up. It was crazy, you know. But this is the things that Yasharal is constantly seeing right now because our redemption draweth nigh. All right. As a matter of fact, there was one in the elders video the other day. All right. Which I know it looks like it's part of these lines, but it really isn't. All right. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it as well. I took a screenshot of it when the elder Rhyme Live was doing the video. And this was another one. It was this piece right there. It looks like it's part of the lines, but it's not, because when you look at the lines, okay, the power lines don't have no lines going that way. So that's why it might throw you off. Like, somebody sees it, they're like, nah, that's part of the lines. But okay, if it's part of the lines, then where's the lines going to the left? Because when you close it up, literally, it was behind them. Let me see if you can see it. I gotta put it in the right angle. So you can see the lines, the power lines are going up, and they go to the right, which will be to your left on looking at it. You see, they're going towards the trees, the lines. But then the actual, hold on, open it up. The actual chariot, though, is the one that's by itself right there. And then when I was watching the video, it actually disappeared behind him as he kept walking. Like it showed up out of nowhere and then it disappeared. And it looks like a cylinder. Again, like I'm gonna do a production video on it so people could get a better look. It's hard to show off the phone. All right, but this other one is a definite. This one's a definite.
About to crash with this other star over here. Oh shit. Oh my god, what the fuck did I just
Yo, the way that thing moved was crazy. And that was boy that was in the background was this young cat. That's how it ended up being seen. He had it better on his phone because he has one of them good ass phones. And it was some young boy that I know that I was teaching, and I was talking to him about chariots. And then right after that, we saw in the sky, and he pulled out his phone and he started kind of recording. He only recorded towards a little bit of the end of it, all right, as much as he can grab on it, because the other pieces that he had of the video didn't look as good. But that was the best part of that was his best shot right there. And like I said, it was straight green, no blinking lights, nothing. It was just a green, big, bright light that was looking like it was gonna hit a star, that might have been another chariot that was just sitting in one spot, and then out of nowhere it went around it, and then it did like a up, down, up to the left, back down. It was crazy. All right, but that being said, let's get into a couple of these scriptures. All right. Which at the end of the day, like we just said, all right, we have to look up constantly, man. Instead of looking down on our phones, we have to look up constantly because our redemption draweth nigh. And when we see these things, these are signs that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is showing, okay? Showing you that the times that we're in, all right, which, let me grab this. This is Proverbs. This is Proverbs 15:3. It says, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Okay. It says in the NLT, the Lord Yahweh is watching everywhere, keeping his eye both on the evil and the good. All right. And what is the eyes of the Lord? All right. The eyes of the Lord are these chariots, what the world ignorantly calls UFOs. Okay. What the world calls UAPs. Okay. But these are IFOs, identified flying objects. We know exactly what these objects are. Those are chariots of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and those are angels that are riding inside those chariots, okay, pertaining to Ezekiel, the first chapter. When you read the whole chapter of Ezekiel in the first chapter, is speaking to you about what the chariots look like, all right, who was in those chariots, how you had melanated men, okay, because the angels are melanated, man. They are dark-skinned men, okay, and they're constantly watching what's going on around the earth, and they're recording it, and they're going back to the heavens to report. You see, and this is literally the curse that's going to go upon the whole entire earth. All right, this is Zechariah 5:1. It says, then I turned and lift up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Okay. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. All right. So he saw 30 feet by 15 feet wide. All right. 30 feet long by 15 feet wide. All right. So that already showing you that it's an actual, chariot, man, because what else can be 30 feet long by 15 feet wide? All right. It says, then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And it will be, and I will bring it forth, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. All right. And, this is why you're seeing so many chariot sightings all over the world, man. All right. Because the Lord is revealing, all right, himself basically, all right, through these, and he's revealing his technology. Here it is. We're in the world of technology. All right. But see, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has his own technology, which is, supernatural. Okay. How they will say, extraordinary. All right. You see, it's all from the heavens, okay, which the Lord has great technology that these devils ain't ever going to be able to come up against. All right, that's why it speaks about it in Revelations 12. All right, it talks about that war in heaven, okay, which is Esau bringing his military might, all right, and trying to fight against Yahweh Shai and his military might. All right, which his military might is from the heavens. All right, Esau's military might is from down here on earth. Okay, made of flesh. You see, this is 12:7. The angel Michael. All right, it says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. All right, so that's talking about, pursuant to Second Ezra, the 13th chapter. All right, that matter of fact, I'll grab a little bit of it. This is Second Ezra, the 13th chapter. Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, and I'll take it. Let me go straight to the point. 6, it says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. All right, which was talking about Yahweh Shai. Okay, and there's no such thing as someone flying on top of a mountain. You see, so you have to use wisdom, man, according to scriptures. All right, and if you knew the scriptures, all right, you will understand that the Lord has mentioned chariots in so many ways metaphorically. Okay, in this case, is being mentioned as a mountain, and we know that a mountain cannot fly. So Yahweh Shai himself, right, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. Okay, because the chariot was so big. You see, and the perfect example is Independence Day. All right, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet there's fight. You see, this is why there's going to be that war in heaven. All right, because in the middle of World War III, these devils, all right, in the middle of fighting, they're going to see Yahweh Shai crack them clouds. And when Yahweh Shai cracks them clouds, okay, these people are going to see Yahweh Shai coming, and then they're going to be afraid. They're going to be real afraid, all right, because the whole world going to tremble, all right, when Yahweh Shai come, as the scriptures tell you in Revelations, the 1st chapter, okay, every eye shall see him. All right, I'll grab that real quick. This is 1:7. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. All right. And that also shows you reincarnation, because those that pierced Yahweh Shai are going to see him coming back in his greatness, man. You see, showing you that them spirits that pierced them are still here today. Okay, are here today on earth. All right, and every eye that's upon the earth is going to see Yahweh Shai crack them clouds. All right, so going back to Oops. Going back to Second Ezra and 13. Second Ezra 13 and 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. But I will have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Okay. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he had sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips of flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. All right. And that's basically going to the chariots. All right. The chariot itself. All right. Basically shooting out that concentrated fire, them laser beams that's going to come out of the actual chariots. Okay. And when you go into history, man, there are many accounts of, chariot sightings all the way to this day. All right. Which is, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah showing his great glory, because that's what he's going to come on, man. All right. This is Isaiah. This is Isaiah 66 and let's take it from 15. It says, for behold, the Lord Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. All right. And the Lord, as it tells you in Jude, he is coming with 10,000 of his saints. All right. Which this was actually reported by Enoch. All right. Which Enoch was actually translated into one of those chariots. All right. In his time, because the Lord found them righteous. Okay. And Yahushai, all right, he had went up in a chariot. Okay. And after I read this, I'll bring it out. It says, for behold, the Lord Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Okay. Going into those chariots again. Now this is all right here in Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 63. Okay. It says, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. Okay. That greatness of his strength is going into those chariots. All right. That's what the Lord is going to come back on according to Acts, the first chapter. All right, let's grab that. This is Acts 1 and I'll get straight to the point. And it says 11. It says, actually, let's go up. Yeah, this is 9. It says, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. You see, how can a cloud, all right, receive someone? All right, because that cloud was a representation of them chariots. You see, and a cloud received him out of their sight. All right, to prove that the cloud was a chariot, you go to Psalms 104, 103. No, actually 104, my bad. 104 and 3. It says, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. All right. So going back to Acts 1 and 9, it says, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received them out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. Right. And that's what? 2 angels, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into the heaven? This same Yahushai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall come in the like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. All right. And that's how Yahushua is going to come back, man. He went up in the chariot. Okay. And he going to come back in the chariot. All right. A big chariot at that. All right. That's going to cover the whole entire earth. All right. And the people, all right, are going to be, when they see the strangeness of our salvation, man, they're going to cry about it, man. They're going to be in anguish. All right. Which it tells you that in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. All right. It says, starting at verse 1, it says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness. All right. Which that is the men of the Lord that's out on these highways and hedges. All right. Standing in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. All right. We stand in great boldness in front of Esau, in front of these other nations, in front of anybody that wants to laugh at us, man. Okay. that think that what we say through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is nonsense. All right. It says, and had made no account of his labors. When they see it, see what? Them chariots. All right. That chariot at that comes to beam all of us up in America, because America is going to be where the great where the chariot is going to beam us up the most. All right, even though we're scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth, most of our people, the biggest salvation is going to come from out of America. All right, because this is where most of our people are. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. You see, that's what these people do, man. They laugh at us when we tell them about these chariots, man. They can't seem to wrap their hands around it. But see, they're gonna believe in the nonsense that Esau's gonna bring when it comes to Project Bluebeam, because there's gonna be a fake alien invasion made, all right, to try to throw you off. But as the scriptures say, if they were able to deceive the elect, you're not gonna be able to deceive the elect, man. All right, you're gonna deceive these people, but you ain't gonna deceive the elect, because we know exactly how Yahweh Shai is coming, all right, in the middle of World War III. So anything before that, okay, is pretty much nonsense. All right. Now the angels do show themselves all the time. All right. And the elect is going to know when those are real. Okay. But you're not going to fool us with the Project Bluebeam that this devil has, man, because we know he's up to all these wicked things. Okay. To try to deceive the nations with the means of with their technologies, their miracles. That's their technologies. Okay. Project Bluebeam being one of them. All right. So it says, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools account to his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How was he numbered among the children of Yahweh, and his lot is among the saints? Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness has not shined onto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not up upon us. It's like it rose not upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction, yet we have gone through deserts where they lay no way. But as for the ways of the Lord Yahweh Shai, we have not known it. What has pride profited us, or what good has riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by. Okay. So, that's going to be the spirit of these people. All right. Once they see us getting beamed up into them chariots, they're going to be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation. You see, and you see movies that show you these things all the time, man. Okay. But again, you're not going to be able to deceive the elect with any of that, because we know exactly how the Lord is coming. All right. This is Matthew 24 and Salakia. This is Matthew 24 and 27. It says, "For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whosoever the carcass is, so like for wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven." All right. See, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. That's going into those missiles. Okay. So when them missiles are being shot, all right, from one end of the earth to the other, okay, that's when Yahweh Shai is going to crack them clouds. It says, "And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." You see? "And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." You see? So that's when the Lord is going to come back in the middle of them, the missiles coming to hit America. All right. And that's why the scriptures say that the righteous shall scarcely be saved. Scarcely means barely making it, man. By the skin of your teeth. All right. Literally. They, you just picture it. You got to picture these things, man. As them missiles is hitting America, and them flames is basically burning your ass almost. And at the same time, Yahweh Shai is going to beam us up into the chariots. You see, if not one big chariot. Okay. Because the whole 1/3 is going to be saved that is remaining on earth, because some of us is going to die as martyrs, so not all of us are going to be there. All right. But the ones that die in this truth for Yahweh Shai, that die before he comes back, they're already going to be on the chariots waiting for us. You see? So the rest of us that do make it, all right, from here down at the heavens, down here at the bottom of on earth, while we're on earth, all right, the Lord is going to have his other men in the chariots already waiting for us. All right. And like it says, he's going to gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to another. Okay. Let me grab, and had another one in my mind, and it just slipped it. Lord willing to come back to me. Give me a second. This is Isaiah. This is Isaiah 31 and 5. And it says, "As birds flying, so will the Lord Yahweh of hosts defend Jerusalem." Okay. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. Yeah, because when that time comes, all right, that the Lord comes to destroy this place, this is going to be that second Passover. All right, this is going to be like a Passover. That's why in the kingdom, we're going to celebrate that second Passover, Passover 2.0. All right, because of the deliverance that the Lord is going to give to us on this side. So it says, "As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it," meaning he's going to deliver us onto those chariots, and pass over, he will preserve it. All right, because what happened in the time of the Passover, man? All right. The Lord came and he passed over Egypt. All right. And this is Egypt all over again, but spiritually. Okay. As the scriptures say, we are spiritually Sodom and Egypt. So the Lord is going to pass over this time and do the same exact thing, man. All right. And you had back in the times when the Red Sea was opened up, that was opened up by a chariot also. Okay, that was opened up by a chariot, which was Yahweh Shai, that led him through the waters. All right, as we just read, as he laid the beams in the waters. Okay, that's how he was able to open up that Red Sea and get us through. Okay, then you had What's the other account I'm thinking of? And when we was going through, and the reason we know it was a chariot, all right, because when he was going through Egypt, it was a pillar of fire by night and a pillar of smoke by day. Okay, and people have, brothers have seen chariots, with fire, formed with fire. Okay, that look like a pillar. You see, just like almost like the one I just showed you on Apostle Ramlav's page. All right, when he was doing that video, that's what that one looked like. It looked like a pillar. It didn't have no fire, no smoke on it, but it looked like in the shape of a cylinder, a pillar. Okay, so the sightings are there, man, to prove that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai exists. You see, but if you can't see, it's because you truly don't believe. All right. Only those that truly believe see these things, and they believe it when they see it. All right. We all have seen, many chariot sightings on our own, and every time we see these chariot sightings, all right, we go crazy, man. Look at the guy I was next to when we seen this chariot. All right, he couldn't believe what he had seen. You see? But I already knew what it is. See, it can either be for his salvation or for his death. All right. And Lord willing, for me is my salvation. Okay. But these people, they get strange when they see these things, man. They can't believe it because they don't understand it fully. But it was spiritual that he's seen it because, you know, Lord willing, maybe the Lord will save him, because we was just finished it. We just finished talking about chariots, and then he sees that. Shalom, Makir, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah. Okay. So let's grab this. This is let me grab um hold on real quick. I know it was in Kings. Go which one it was. This is actually let me put this instead. This is Second Kings um 2 and this is Second Kings 2 and I'll take it from 9. It says, and it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. Okay, because he was about to go on a chariot. It says, and Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. And it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire. All right. When have you seen horses running around with fire, man? All right, because these horses is representing, all right, chariots. Okay, it says chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Let me see what this word whirlwind goes into. Okay, in the linear, it might just say a storm. Yeah, I knew it was going to say that, a storm. Okay. Let me keep searching because you never know. You go into, it says storm away, trouble scattered, whirlwind. Ooh, wait, hold on. Hold on real quick. Nah, that's a different word. I thought that word meant something. Nah, it didn't say much on there. It just kept mentioning the actual whirlwind, like, you know, a storm. Let me see what it says. A chariot here. Chariot of fire. It says upper millstone riders, troop of riders, horsemen. Nah. Oh man, my phone died. It's a cheap ass phone. Slocky. Hold on, I got my scriptures on me. Slovakia. We was in 2 Kings 2. This was 2 and 11. It says, and it came to pass as they were still on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in 2 pieces. You see? So Elisha ended up getting that double portion that he had asked for because he seen it. And if he didn't see it, all right, he was not going to receive that double portion. But because he seen it and because he believed is why he seen him, man. All right. And he ended up receiving that double portion. All right. Also, when you go to Ezekiel, our first chapter, damn, I needed that too. Because I want to go into this word in Ezekiel, the first chapter. It says, let me just get there real quick. Ezekiel 1, and I'll just get straight to the point. It says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, which that's going into those angels, you see? All right. And when you go into that word, the color of amber, all right, that word amber, all right, I forgot what's the word. That's why I wish I had the phone. Let me see if it came back on. Oh, it did come back on. All right, let me go back into that blue letter. All right, when you go into that word amber, give it a second. Okay. Loading up now in the blue letter. I believe it goes into a polished spectrum metal, if I remember correctly. All right, which for it to be called a polished spectrum metal, all right, that's showing you that it was that the material of that chariot was metal. Oh shit, that was a big ass possum. That shit was that shit came out of fucking nowhere. That shit look crazy. That shit was either a possum or a damn, I don't know what, a newly created creature. Hold on, it's coming up now. So you're going into Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel, the first chapter, 1 and 4. All right. And it says, and thereof as the color of amber. That word amber goes into hasmal, ha, hashmal. That's a mile.
Strong's H2830. Hashmal.
Yeah. So
Hashmal.
it says a shining substance, amber or electrum or bronze. Okay. A shiny substance. And then when you go down to the actual Strong's definitions, it says probably bronze or polished spectrum metal. Okay. So showing you that it was a shiny material that was a spectrum metal. All right. Let's see what spectrum metal. What is a spectrum metal?
Spectrum metal isn't a single specific thing. It often refers to companies that work with metals, like Spectrum Metals, which distributes materials such as stainless steel and aluminum. It can also mean a product, such as Spectrum PLA metal filament.
So there
with
you
3D
go.
printing.
So it's an actual stainless steel or metal. The Lord wasn't dealing with no companies that make metal. So the Lord got his own metal. All right. Which actually said right there, said it was uncertain metal, because the metal that's here on earth, all right, is going to be different than the metal that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai going to use, man. See, the Lord going to use angelic metal, all right, metal of the heavens, whatever it is that he uses, that he has his chariots created with, all right, is going to be different from the metals down here, you see. So it's letting you know that it was made out of metal, all right. And we just went back to what? We went back to where we was reading in Zechariah, all right. He said that he has seen it was 20 cubits by it was 30. What was it? Let me read it again. Going back to Zechariah. Hold on. Zechariah 5:1. Right. He said it was the length thereof of the flying roll was 20 cubits and the breadth thereof 10 cubits, which 20 cubits goes into 30 feet long and 15 feet wide, the 10 cubits. All right. So it was an actual metal, polished spectrum metal. Okay. That was 30 feet long by 15 feet wide. That definitely sounds like a chariot. All right. And on top of that, it was a wheel within a wheel. All right. So you have the wheel. Just show you right here, my little chariot. This is a wheel, okay? A wheel within a wheel. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand how the prophets used to describe things, you know, because they had to describe it by the things they have seen around themselves. You see? So, you know, there's just so many ways that the Lord will show you through the Spirit, you know. As a matter of fact, let me see something. Where was it when let me see if this comes up, because Enoch, all right, Enoch was taken up. And I believe when you go into that word, let me see, Enoch. And Enoch walked with Yahweh, and he was not, for Yahweh took him. Okay. Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Yahweh had translated him. Before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased. All right. And the testimony that he had gave, right, was that, tells you that in Jude 1:14, it says, and Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. All right. But the word translated, let me see what that word translated goes into. All right. That word translated goes into
Strong's G 3346.
metatithemi, right? It says to transpose two things, one of which is put in the place of the other, to transfer. Okay. to transfer what from down here to being transported into that to that chariot, the same way Yahushua was. He was basically transferred. All right, when he went up into those chariots, like it tells you in Acts the 1st chapter, okay, that's what it meant, to be transferred. It says to transfers oneself or suffers one's self to be transferred, to go or pass over. All right, which I really want a better word. Okay, it says Strong's definition says to transfer, example, literally transport. Okay, and what did it just say? That he was it said what? Let me see. It said by faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death and was not found. Okay, meaning he disappeared. All right, so what does that explain to you? How can you explain that if he disappeared? All right, that means he was literally what? Transported from earth to that chariot. All right, and I forgot, I did a while back, man. It was just me walking around, I mean me messing around literally through the spirit. There's a certain word that it kept saying when you go into the clouds. It was like saying a trans let me see, hold on, let me see something. Let me put cloud in here. Right, to the cloud and stood within there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. All right, because you have Moses, right? He went into the chariot also when he was getting those, when he was on Mount Sinai. All right, he had to go up into those chariots to receive them stones, right? It said, and the Lord descended in the cloud. Let me see this word. The cloud is what I want. Yeah, see, look, cloud goes into, it says a cloud mass of theophanic theophanic cloud. Okay, let me see what this word. Cloud, when you go into that actual the root word of cloud, it goes to anan. All right, it says to make appear, produce, bring clouds, to practice. Nah, that's not it. It says to observe times, practice Hussein, or nah, that's not it either. Nah, it's not saying nothing. But that word, that theophanic cloud. Let me see what theophanic means in the Webster. Theophanic says theophany. All right, it says a visible manifestation to humankind of Yahweh or a power. Okay, let me see what else they got in here. It says theophany is an encounter with a deity that manifests in an observable and tangible form. Let me see what tangible. Meaning that it says tangible means perceptible by touch. Okay, a thing that is perceptible by touch. Sometimes you just got to play with it and words pop up, man. But basically, when I was looking it up one day, it went into some wordplay, and it was saying that it was something from basically from outer space. It was basically explaining it, you know. Not, it didn't literally say outer space, but it was saying something that was like from like extra. It was like out of this world, basically, you know. And I've never seen it again after I forgot what type of what I was doing when I was doing it. It was just something through the spirit, because that's what the spirit does. When you constantly reading and you just looking things up, the Lord revealed things to you, you know. But it was hard for me to find it after that. It was just like a one-time thing. 1 second. Yeah, it's not coming out. but still, theophanic. All right, that's a heavy word. All right, because it's a visible manifestation to humankind of Yahweh or a power. All right. So, when he showed himself onto Moses, that was the manifestation. He visibly made the manifestation onto him. All right. But it was of Yahweh. It was a manifestation of Yahweh. Okay. Something that was basically out of this world, and not everybody could perceive that, these chariots, man. Because these people, they see it is their doom, man. Us, it's our salvation. So we believe it when we see it. All right. To everybody else, is one of those things that it's one of those things that they'll just be sitting there trying to figure out what it is. All right. When you go into theophanic in the Gesenius lexicon, it says a cloud. Look, it says a cloud as covering and veiling over the heaven. Veiling over the heaven. Let's see what this word veiling, a morning cloud. It says a morning cloud is used in the image of something transcendent. Transcendent. Let's look these two words up. Veiling and transcendent. Definition of veiling. Nah. Nah, it's showing like a veil, like a piece of cloth. And now that I'm thinking about it even more, one of the words that I have found, it literally came out and said hovering. That was the kicker right there. When I seen hovering, that's what explained that it was a chariot. All right. You have veiling, and what was the other one? Transcendent. Transcendent definition. Transcendent, lasting only for a short time. Impermanent. A person who is staying or working in a place only for a short time. Nah, it's not saying much on that. Let's try this. Word etymology online. Theophanic.
Theophanic comes from ancient Greek, meaning it relates to a divine appearance. It comes from theos, meaning God, and phane, meaning to show or to appear. The word describes something related to, or a manifestation of, God.
The fact that it says divine, yeah, divine is something that's not from us, is of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Is angelic, yep. See, divine means angelic. So that word already showing you that it's an angelic power, something that is not to be understood by basically a human, right? Unless it's of the elect. Okay. Transcendent. Word etymology online. See what it says for that.
The word transient comes from the Latin transire,
to go across, to pass over.
Or pass over. It's derived from trans, meaning across, and ire, meaning to go. The English word first appeared around the late 1500s. All right,
thank you. I appreciate it. Nah, it's not bringing it up. I was hoping it would give me something good. I'm gonna try to find that though. I'm gonna definitely look and get lost with it. But you get the point, man. All right. Look, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is gonna come back with his 10,000s of saints, man. All right. And there's so many ways in the scriptures to bring out, chariots, and we brought out a few already through the Spirit, But this is why brothers is constantly seeing all types of chariot sightings throughout the earth, man. Okay. Because the Lord is literally revealing himself to the elect. All right. And to those that don't believe, all right, that's going to be your curse. Okay. That goes upon the whole entire earth. Okay. So pretty much that's the point. All right. Lord willing, you were edified. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who grew well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom, and I'm going to show this video one more time. All right, of that sighting, which was heavy.
About to crash with this other star over here. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. What the fuck did I just... Yo!
Yeah, that's heavy right there. Gotta see that one more time.
About to crash with this other star over here. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. What the fuck did I just... Yo!
Boy, that was next to me he was amazed at that. But hey, call Elohim La Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because I'm thankful for this truth and being able to understand what that was and what it means, you know. So with that being said, Shalom Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.